The morning had begun like any other episode of Good Morning America beat music. Polished smiles and the hum of a well-oiled production team moving behind the scenes. Viewers tuned in with their coffee in hand, expecting a conversation with none other than Danny DeVito, the Hollywood legend whose eccentric charm had made him a household name for decades. For fans, no one, not the audience, not the producers, and perhaps not even DeVito himself. George Stephanopoulos welcomed DeVito with a warm smile and a chuckle. "You've been making people laugh for nearly 50 years. What keeps you going?" Danny leaned forward with a grin. "Mortality," he joked, prompting laughter from the audience. "Seriously though, I just love what I do in Broadway. That's my heartbeat, man." The banter was smooth at first. They talked about rehearsals, the energy of the stage, even Danny's unusual pre-show rituals. But then, George subtly shifted gears. He pulled out a quote from a recent podcast where DeVito had been more candid than usual. The clip played on screen a short segment where Danny criticized the modern entertainment industry, calling it a playground for billionaires in costume and accusing major studios of gutting the soul out of storytelling. So, Danny, George said, glancing at his cue card. "This clip's been getting a lot of traction. You said Hollywood's becoming a puppet show for the ultra-rich. Some say that's a bit harsh, especially coming from someone who's benefited from the system for so long." Danny's eyebrows rose. He tilted his head slightly, his usual grin fading. "I don't think it's harsh. I think it's real. Look, I've been in this industry long enough to see it evolve some good, a lot of bad. And yeah, I've had success, but I've also fought tooth and nail to keep projects authentic, to keep people employed." George pressed further. "But don't you think statements like that, especially during strikes and tension in the industry, can be seen as divisive?" DeVito's face stiffened. "Divisive to who? The people up top. The executives who wouldn't know a script from a sandwich? I'm not talking to them, mime, talking to the people who work the cameras, run the lights, write the words, act the scenes, the ones getting squeezed while the big guys argue over stock options." The crew behind the cameras froze, watching the tension unfold. George tried to de-escalate, his voice calm and measured. That it could stir unrest when diplomacy might be more productive? Danny let out a short, incredulous laugh. "Diplomacy," he repeated. "You bring me here to talk about a play, then blindside me with political spin. Now I'm the one creating unrest. No one's trying to blindside you, Danny. I'm just asking the questions." Leaned forward, voice low but intense. George looked briefly off camera as if searching for a cue, but there was none. The moment hung in the air like a live wire, and then Danny DeVito stood up. "I've done this dance long enough. I'm not here to play the part of the happy mascot. If the truth makes people uncomfortable, maybe they should ask why." Without a glance back, he walked off the set. Past stunned production staff and stunned co-hosts, and out of frame, a camera quickly cut to a wide shot, then abruptly to commercial. The audience, both in studio and at home, was left speechless. Within minutes, clips of the moment flooded social media. Hashtags like #DeVito Walkout and #Danny Unfiltered began trending across platforms. Some called him a hero. Others accused him of grandstanding. But one thing was clear: Danny DeVito had just hijacked Good Morning America, and the internet was eating it up. Backstage at the Good Morning America studio, tension hung thick in the air. Danny DeVito's sudden departure had thrown the entire production into chaos. Danny, meanwhile, paced the hallway just outside the set, visibly fired up. He wanted a reaction. Well, he got one. Danny growled to no one in particular, shrugging off a worried assistant who tried to coax him back for a soft landing. His longtime publicist Marcia caught up to him and tried to reason. "Danny, we can still fix this. I've played the nice guy for too long. They want to slap a muzzle on you, wrap it in makeup, and call it entertainment. Not this time." An unexpected moment earlier with Mr. DeVito, he said. His tone was cool, diplomatic, but his eyes hinted at embarrassment. But the world wasn't ready to move forward. By the time the show ended 30 minutes later, social media had already detonated. Clips of Danny's walkout were circulating on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Millions of users weighed in, dissecting every sentence, every gesture, every facial expression. George trending hashtags included #DeVito Walkout, #George vs. Danny, and #Morning Meltdown. One user tweeted, "Danny DeVito said more truth in 60 seconds than most politicians say in a career." Another wrote, that wasn't a meltdown, it was a mic drop. Asterisk, by midday, talk show hosts were weighing in.